Morning. Thank you for having me today here. It's an honor to speak to in front of you. I think we're going to cover two topics. The first one is a review of the secondary amenorrhea, which as adult endocrinologists we get to see in the clinic quite often. So just a couple of words regarding to the background and the physiology of the menstrual cycle. We do know that is the result of a complex interaction between hypothalamus, the pituitary gland, the ovaries, and the uterus. And it is divided in two phases: the follicular phase, where we do see the growth of the abdominal follicle, followed by ovulation, and then the luteal phase comes in, where the uterine lining gets ready for implantation. If that doesn't happen, then the menstrual bleeding occurs. This picture. Okay. I'm sorry. Does this work? Is this better? Okay. In this figure essentially shows what I just said before, and it goes over the changes that happen at the follicular level on the top bar, if you want, followed by the changes in the temperature, but then and then on the third bar are the changes in the follicular stimulating hormone levels and the LH levels, and you can see the LH surge, which essentially is responsible for ovulation. The next bar shows the changes in the estrogen and progesterone levels, and right on the bottom you can see the changes in the endometrial lining thickening. As far as definition, the secondary amenorrhea is defined as absence of menses for more than 3 months in girls and women who had previously irregular cycles, and more than 6 months or 6 months or more in girls and women who had previously irregular cycles. There are multiple causes, and the most common one is physiologic, is pregnancy. As far as pathological causes, probably the most common one is PCOS, followed by hypothalamic amenorrhea. Hyperprolactinemia is another common cause. Ovarian insufficiency, previously named primary ovarian failure, and then other endocrinopathies can be associated with